Well, now it's time to do an actual test on the sump here just to see how things are going to work. You can see I'm going to turn on the water. We're going to fill up this reservoir. It's going to come over here. It's going to flow through these sock filters, fill this up, and then overflow into where the media will be, the biological media will be, and then out into the sump area. I have a feeling that when I do this, there's going to be a lot of leakage to the sides of these filter socks. So I may have to put, a piece of egg crate possibly on the top of it, and then possibly weight it down just a little bit so that those will seat a little better. But we'll see what happens when I turn on the water and see what I think is going to happen here. So get the water turned on. Make sure this works like we want it to. So we can see we're filling this reservoir up. The pipe would normally come straight down into here and submerge itself in here so there's not a lot of bubbles. And it's going to have a full siphon, so it shouldn't have a lot of bubbles. And then I know it's going to seep through the edges of these things, but we're going to see what happens here. Yep. Seeping pretty hard on a couple of them, but we'll see what happens when it gets all the way filled up. So I'll come back when it's almost full. I thought I'd put this up here so we can kind of see it flowing down into those sock filters. Again, until it gets pretty full here, I think there's a lot of seepage around the edge of these. You can see it right here coming down, but there's plenty of seepage in there right now. But when it fills all the way up here, it's going to tell me a lot. And we'll see what happens, but I'll get back when it's about full. You can actually see that in some of these that there's just not much water going into them. They're going to have to be seated a little bit better, I think, but it's just about full, about where I wanted it to be. I really wanted to see if these things were going to float. So at this point, it's pretty much full, and now it's going to flow over here into the main part of the sump. And this, I wanted to see how high it was going to come on the teeth here. I know it's going to flow up on those teeth pretty high, and that's okay. I just didn't want it to be, an inch above that. So this is pretty much what I designed for. I wanted to have about 1.5 inches of water above these sock filters, so this water has to flow down through there and then out into the media area. So we're going to have to see what happens here. But that's my first test. So we can see the water coming over the other side here, over the overflow here into the media area. Then obviously it's going to come out the bottom here and then be pumped out. I just have a temporary little stopper here to stop the flow from running out onto the floor until I get it pretty much filled up. But obviously, once this water level in here gets up to about this high, then there won't be any more noise come out of this falling water, and this will be perfectly silent, which is exactly what I want. So it looks like it's working good. I just think I have an issue with those sock filters, with the water leaking beside them or through the sides of them, and not probably only, I'm going to say 60% is actually going through the socks. I think the other 40% is blowing right by the edges of it. So I'm going to have to figure that out, and we'll go from there. As you can see now, we're just about full, and notice you don't hear anything anymore. It's almost perfectly silent, which means I need to shut the water off right now, because that's about where I'm going to go with it. Notice the different levels, but at this point it's going to run together. But it's silent, and that's the most important thing. Alright, went to these new, actually they're the old 4-inch filter socks that I had. They do not have a plastic ring on them, they have this ring on the inside. I'm not sure what it is, but the ring on the inside, and they actually fit in the 4-inch hole, not that 3 3/4. And these are working excellent. Yeah, there might be a little tiny bit of blow by, but not very much. These are working very, very well. They are holding into the holes there. The water is going right down through them as compared to the ones with the plastic ring. Very happy with these, and they're working very, very well. Of course, I'll have to get it running to see what it's going to really do, but those things are awesome. Really like these socks. Much, much better than a plastic ring was for this application.